All right, this is teaching for ladies. I'm going to read something in the Old Testament. Maybe you've read this, maybe you haven't. Um, but I like to read a few, from the Old Testament at times. And the reason I'm reading these is, when it comes to like the government and those who are over us and rulers and, how it all began and how God chooses those who he wants over us and things like that. Read Romans 13 and I believe it's 1 Peter 2. But I'm going to start here in 1 Samuel 8, starting at verse 1. Pretty much to the end. And it came to pass when Samuel was old that he made his sons judges over Israel. Now, the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second, Abiah. They were judges in Beersheba. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, and took bribes, and perverted judgment. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramah, and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel, when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people, and all that they say unto thee. For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them, according to all the works which they have done, since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me, and have served other gods. So do they also unto thee. Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit yet protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. So, they had judges over them and things like that, and they were judged, based on righteous judgment in the way that, God told them to do from the beginning, based on his 10 commandments and the things that were within there. And, and Samuel was a prophet here, and they didn't like having judges over them. They're like, we want a king to rule over us. We don't want no more of this. We don't want you to do that. We want a king over us to judge us like other nations. And, God was like, okay, and tell them what kind of king they're going to get over them. Try to protest against them, say, you don't really want that. This is what you're going to get. So this is what God says. According to all the works which they have done. Oh, so sorry. Let me, verse 9 again of 1 Samuel 8. Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit yet protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. And Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked of him a king. And he said, This will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint him captains over thousands, and captains over 50s, and will set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war, and instruments of his chariots. Now this is the king that they're asking for, and he's letting them know what this king is going to be like, and he's going to use their stuff for his gain. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. And he will take your fields, and your vineyards, and your olive gardens, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he will take the 10th of your seed and of your vineyards, and to give his officers and to his servants. And he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodliest young men and your asses, and put them to his work. And he will take the 10th of your sheep, and he will be his servants. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which you shall have chosen you, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, Nay, but we will have a king over us, that we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us, and go out before us and fight our battles. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, Hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, Go ye every man unto his city. One verse I really want to read and just let it ring in your ear. And it's in the 1 Samuel 8 verse 7, and it says, And the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people, and all that they say unto thee, for they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. They rejected God. They didn't like his ways. They wanted it to be their ways and be like the other nations. And just think about it. Here, and he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodliest young men and your asses and put them to his work. He will take 1/10 of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. I mean, he's going to take 1/10 of these. I mean, think about our taxes and things that we pay. Like, these are things that our fathers and before us asked for this. And God tried to talk him out of it, saying, all right, this is what you're going to get if you want this. And they said, nay, they did not obey the voice of, refused to obey the voice of Samuel and from what God was telling them. And they said, no, we want this. So just remember that before us. But there is a way for you to not think of the curses and things and to receive the blessings of the Lord. And it's not a terror to those who are of good works. So I'm going to go read 1 Kings 9, 3 through 9. All right, so like I said, this is 1 Kings 3 through 9. Solomon had built this. So this is after Solomon, and he had finished building the house of the Lord. And like I said, I'm going to start 1 Kings chapter 9, starting at verse 3. And the Lord said unto him, I have heard thy prayer and thy supplication that thou hast made before me. I have hallowed this house which thou hast built to put my name there forever, and mine eyes and mine heart shall be there perpetually. And if thou wilt walk before me, as David thy father walked, in integrity of heart, and in uprightness to do according to all that I have commanded thee, and will keep my statutes and my judgments, then I will establish the throne of thy kingdom upon Israel forever. As I promised to David thy father, saying, there shall not fail thee a man upon the throne of Israel. But if ye shall at all turn from following me, ye or your children, and will not keep my commandments and my statutes, which I have set before you, but go and serve other gods and worship them, then will I cut off Israel out of the land which I have given them, and this house which I have hallowed for my name, and will cast out of my sight, and Israel shall be a proverb and a byword among all the people. And at this house which is high, every one that passeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss, and they shall say, why hath the Lord done thus unto this land, and to this house? And they shall answer, because they forsook the Lord their God, who brought them forth, their fathers, out of the land of Egypt, and have taken hold upon other gods, and have worshipped them, and have served them. Therefore hath the Lord brought upon them all this evil. So there's a lot of these things going on in this world. A lot of, you've got your abortions and people going after other lusts and desires of things that are not convenient for them. Romans 1, go read it. And it's all simple. He gave 10 commandments that we had to live by. That is the way to live. And they're not grievous. Do not call it the burden of the Lord. Deuteronomy 5:29, he did those 10 commandments and added no more. But they transgressed and broke that holy covenant by making of that golden calf. And then that's when he added that sacrificial law. So this is something to go research and study it out. But I just kind of want to read and bring some things to light here that were in the old, and why things are the way we have now, because there's nothing new under the sun. But after generation, they're going to forget the things before. But if you live in the Holy Spirit of truth by keeping of his commandments and understand that spirit of grace and conviction that's trying to teach you to deny the ungodly lust of this world, you will understand and things will be brought to your remembrance, and you will see these with spiritual eyes and understand the times that we're in and how it is relevant to the times we are in now. Now, this is something you really do need to go research yourself. I want to try to guide you to where to go, but there's just so much in the keeping of his commandments. And then you will see the other, like I said, Isaiah 28:10, it says, who shall he teach knowledge? I think that's in verse 9, those who are, drawn from the breast and weaned from the milk, and you must read line upon line, here a little, there a little, precept upon precept. And it's just, you've really got to understand what is and isn't no more. But that is where you've got to study to show thyself approved, rightly dividing the word of truth. Hosea 4:6. And 1 Timothy 2:15, studies show thyself approved, rightly dividing the word of truth. Hosea 4:6 is his people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And for that, the Lord will forsake. He will go read Hosea 4:6. And if his people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, and because of that, there's a lot of things that will happen from that. So like I said, please go read that. And a proverb that I was kind of reading was Proverbs 28, and kind of comes into judgment and things like that, and what we have and what we're to do and what his people are called to do. If you want to go in and feel like it sits there and says, many are called and few are chosen. Many people don't like to go into the work of the prophets and the servants, and that's what we're supposed to be in. And it says, Proverbs 28:5, evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek the Lord understand all things. So when it comes to also judgment, judge not lest you be judged. Judge no man by appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Well, it's John 7:24. You have to understand what righteous judgment is, and that we are called to do that. Leviticus 19:15-18, and loving thy neighbor as thyself. And also in loving all the children of God and loving God with all your heart, mind, soul, and might, that is the keeping of his commandments. Read Deuteronomy 4-6. It all goes hand in hand. Like, it is not a terror unto you, our government. We will have a government we have, and that is what we ask for, like I read to you in 1Samuel 8. And understanding, God said, if you did not, I will forsake. And we were sent into captivity, and, we didn't return and whatnot, and there's a lot more into that. But, these are just things to go study, to study these things out. His commandments are still here. You're to keep his commandments. Stop with your Christmas, your Easter, your Halloween. That is the worshiping of other gods and idols and graven images, and that will make you deaf, dumb, and blind, and those who serve them and make them will be alike unto them. Psalms 115. You have to stop with these pagan traditions. Jeremiah 10:1-5. Do not put up a tree. I don't bow down to that tree. Yes, you do. Are you bowing down, putting gifts? That is the offering and sacrifice. You're offering gifts. That you have to understand when it talks about the worshiping of other gods, and you went and served them. And like the other ways of the people, the heathen, the Gentiles. You liked what they did instead of what God was trying to tell you to do, and what was righteous and what was right. And it's in Matthew 5:17-20, and there, great and wonderful are those who teach the commandments. They are the greatest in the kingdom. But to teach somebody to break them and not, teach the commandment, they'll be the least in the kingdom. They won't be in there. It is so important. We are to teach our children the 10 commandments. Honor thy father and mother. It's teaching your kids, and honor and all that. There's just so much that goes into it. But I just studied to show this out. I hope this was edifying for somebody. And then I just wanted to bring some light to some, Old Testaments and understanding and how it is relevant to today. So please seek this out. His people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Time is short, the time we are in. Please do not be fooled and deceived. Get right with God right now. Repent. Keep his 10 commandments. And understand the rainbow covenant. That was Genesis 6-9. And the, Leviticus 11 of the clean animals you eat and the unclean animals you don't eat. This is for everybody. It's not just, it is no more Gentile, Jew, Greek, none of that stuff. We are all can be grafted in, Romans 11, to this. And go love thy neighbor as thyself. Once you have repented and taken the beam, the Christmas tree, and all this stuff, and eating clean and eating right, then you can go judge righteous judgment. That is how you can help your brother take the beam out of their eye. Just may the grace of God be with you. I love you all very biblically. I love your children. That is why I do this. This is why. May the grace of God be with you. Again, his conviction. Don't ignore it.